Today, let's look at some charts. These are charts put out by the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, through its St. Louis branch, regularly puts out economic data in the form of charts on a wide range of economic activity. You'd be surprised what you can learn about the state of our economy from just looking at and studying the data that the Federal Reserve puts out. Anyone can access these charts and data. Just Google fred.stlouisfed.org. So let's get started. What I want to talk to you about today is debt. Everybody knows what debt is. You borrow money from somewhere, and over a certain amount of time, you pay that money back. And the usual way you pay it back is taking a portion of money that you earn and pay back that debt little at a time. Now, I suppose if you can't pay off your debt from money you earn, you could sell some of your things to pay it back, or maybe you can just run away and not pay off your debt. Maybe declare bankruptcy. But for today, let's keep it simple and just concentrate on trying to pay off your debt with the money you earn, your income. First, let's talk about our government's debt. This is the chart of the federal government debt. Today, it stands around $36 trillion. This is the amount of money the federal government owes. This is just the federal government of the United States, not including debt of local and state governments. This is a chart of the current total receipts. It's taxes and fees that the United States federal government takes in yearly. Today it stands around $5 trillion. This is the amount of money the federal government has at its disposal to use to pay off its debt without resulting to other means. But the federal government has other things it needs to spend money on, and it has never attempted to pay off any of its debts this way. In fact, it has not recently attempted to pay off any of its debt at all. Again, the chart of its debts going back 60 years. If it had paid off some, the line would have gone down at some point. Do you see anywhere when that line went down, even a little? In 2007, that debt was under $9 trillion. Now that's a lot, but it has gone up 400% in the past 17 years. What I have done here is to combine the previous two charts into one. The top red line showing the total federal debt, and the bottom blue line showing the yearly receipts of the U.S. government. This is a trend line of the yearly receipts, the blue arrow, and the total debt up until the great financial crisis of 2008, the red arrow. As you can see, the debt was already climbing slightly faster than the receipts. But look at the trend since then. It's going parabolic. It's so bad that the federal government stopped spending money on everything else and only used the money it receives every year. It would take 7 years to pay off its debt. Think that could happen? Me either. That's why most people who study this say its debt can never be repaid. This chart shows another way to look at it. This is a chart of the federal debt as a percentage of our GDP, the gross domestic product. The GDP is everything every American company and every American person produces in goods and services each year. Back in the 1980s, that percentage was under 30%. Now it hovers around 120%, 4 times more. And look at the trend. It just continues to go up. Okay, that's the debt of the U.S. federal government. But other entities have debt as well. This is a chart of the total debt of the federal government as well as all state and local governments, and also including the debt of every American company and the debt of every American individual. Pretty much all outstanding debt in the United States, all government debt, all company debt, all personal mortgages, car loans, and credit card debt. Today, it stands at $100 trillion. And what money can companies and individuals use to pay off that debt? What we have here is a chart of all yearly income of all individuals and all companies, public and private, in the United States. The GNI, Gross National Income. According to the Federal Reserve, it is the sum of value added by all residential producers. In other words, gross national income is the total income earned by a country's people and businesses. Today, it is roughly $29 trillion per year that all U.S. citizens and all U.S. companies make. Again, that is gross income, so that includes all the monies that corporations and individuals will pay before taxes. So the money that the governments can use to pay off their debt is included in this number. This is the only money that can be used by individuals, companies, and governments to pay off their debt unless they start selling their things off or want to default on their debt. Today it stands at around $27 trillion per year. What I have done here is to combine the previous two charts into one. The top red line showing the total debt of all entities in the U.S., and the bottom blue line showing the yearly income of all entities in the U.S. This blue arrow is the trend line of the yearly income, and the trend line of the total debt before the early 2000s, the red arrow. Back then, the debt was climbing faster than the income that could be used to pay off debt. But now look at it. It's going parabolic as well. It's so bad that if everyone stopped spending money on everything else and only used income to pay off their debt, it would take almost 4 years to pay it off. Think that could ever happen? Governments couldn't do it. Companies would have to close, and individuals would starve. And just as the federal government has not been able to pay off any of its debt in the last 60 years, when totaled together, neither have any entities in America. Oh, it happened for about 1 second during the recession of 2008. We'll get into why that happened at a later time. Let's just say it wasn't pretty. What these charts show is that the rate of growth of debt is unsustainable. Why is debt going up parabolic while the income to service that debt is not? Hit the like and subscribe, and let's see if we can find some answers by looking at some more charts in future videos. Aloha.